Hi and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'll be discussing, is Sea of Thieves more like No Man's Sea? This is quite a flippant title to my video, and it's kind of like a meme going around at this point, that Sea of Thieves is more like No Man's Sea in that it's got comparisons to No Man's Sky, that they're both big overhyped games promising the sky, in this case the sea, but ultimately they feel disappointed. They kind of feel let down, almost like conned by the marketing, and that ultimately this game will just be forgotten. For one thing, Sea of Thieves feels like this big empty shell of a game. There's just not much to do really. You essentially pick up missions from 3 companies, which makes you, and then you end up doing those things for the whole game. You either kill skeletons or dig up treasure or collect animals, and you essentially do that the same thing over and over again from like level 1 to level 50. I mean, if you're killing skeletons and collecting skulls, but they're the same enemies that you kill over and over again. You just go to the same islands and shoot them in the same way. You've got the same weapons, they're not varied weapons. The AI is a bit dumb. They run into the sea sometimes, or they stop running after you. The skeletons feel like they're aimbots sometimes as well, and it's just really boring. You're basically just doing the same fetch quests over and over again for the whole game. I mean, these missions are basically like tutorial missions that you'd basically do in any other games, and the developer would quickly drop those to show that they've got other activities in the game. I mean, this is quite like No Man's Sky comparison, because in the first few hours of No Man's Sky it feels really amazing. You look up at a planet and you think, I want to go there, I want to explore there, I want to see what different animals are there, different plant types are new, and like it's really new and different, and like, but when that newness is gone, you're basically just doing the same thing. You're basically pointing your Omni tool at different objects to collect the resources, and after a while it just becomes pointless. I mean, in Sea of Thieves you're basically collecting skulls, animals and bounties and things, and you're basically just buying cosmetics, and that's all you're doing for your ship or your pirate. You don't even see these cosmetics on your pirate. You don't even see your pirate. So what's the point? I mean, and also these cosmetics, the prices have gone up since beta, and I feel like it's encouraging grinding for grinding's sake to increase the length of the game, or maybe possibly because to encourage people to buy microtransactions that are coming down the line. Also, Sea of Thieves is lacking any true character progression. It's not like a true RPG where you level up skills, you do more damage, you might make your character specialise in different things like stealth or magic or stuff like that. There's no character progression. Your slashes do the same amount of damage if you're level 1 or level 50, which I can understand because you're like giving a true level playing field in PvP, but there's no achievement, there's nothing to work towards. All the equipment you get from level 1. You get your bucket, you get your spade, you get your sword and all your weapons exactly at the start, and there's nothing to work towards. You know, you might have a small ship to begin with, and then you could like level it up with like ship upgrades or something like that. But you're not. You get everything at level 1. There's just nothing to work towards in the game, and I just think the player base is just gonna drop off because of that fact. This is quite like the same as No Man's Sky, but at least No Man's Sky had an objective that you had where you could travel to the centre of the universe, and there was like this mysterious race that was guiding you and was trying to make you understand more about the universe and your place in it. Sea of Thieves doesn't even have a story whatsoever. I mean, it'd be cool if like you could go to like Captain Hook's palace and you could like get some PvP missions, and once you sunk some ships you could like get some ship upgrades or something like that, or like you could expand Pirate Hell and have like the ghost ship theme, and you could like do missions in Pirate Hell, and then maybe get a pirate who had been sent to Pirate Hell. You could try to get him back by doing missions, but it's just disappointing that there's no story or meaningful character progression in Sea of Thieves. I mean, also there's like no consequences to your actions as well. Like if you die, you just spawn 30 seconds later, and on your boat, or you just when you die, the mermaid transports you back to your ship. I mean, this is really accentuated in the skeleton forts, where if you kill a rival team at the skeleton fort, in 5 minutes later they can just sell their ship back to the skeleton fort, and they've got all of their bananas and cannons, and they're fully stocked up, and you're not. So you have this ridiculous battle that keeps going back and forth at the skeleton fort of people. You kill me, I kill you, I kill you, you kill me, and there's just no skill. It's just basically who will give up first, and it's just really disappointing. But I have to say that Sea of Thieves, the core gameplay is fun. You know, sailing your ship is, you can see where they put most of their effort in the ship mechanics. The water looks beautiful, the behaviour of the water is amazing. Like if you're in a storm and there's big waves, your ship rocks and then falls, and it's really interesting. But it's just an empty shell of a game where you're just picking up the same fetch quests from the NPCs, and there's just no like rewarding gameplay loop, and it just feels like it's a waste of time with like no meaningful progression. I mean, there's much better pirate games out there. I mean, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is I'm sure where Sea of Thieves got their inspiration for the ship combat. You're still doing your normal Assassin's Creed quests, but you're still in a pirate world, and you've got a crew to manage, and you're digging up treasure, and the crew loves you, and when you go back to the ship they're like, hey, captain's back and I love you, and it just feels like that the pirate theme is good, but in this game it's just not explored enough. I mean, Sid Meier's Pirates is a brilliant sandbox game. I love that game. I also feel that there's comparisons between No Man's Sky and this game because of the way that it was both overhyped the game and people feel disappointed. I mean, if you look back at the footage both E3 conferences for the games, they promised like boundless possibilities, that you could just go anywhere and do anything, and essentially the sky's the limit. But you're essentially just doing the same thing over and over again, and people say that Sea of Thieves should just be called a sandbox game, and don't criticise it, you make your own fun. But what are you actually doing? You're just doing the same thing over and over again, and there's like no like things to help with immersion really. You might just go and drink in a tavern with your friends and barf over each other, but I mean, once you've done that once, so what? You know, there should be like mini games, like card games, and you know, drinking competitions and things. But you're not. You're just kind of like bound to the NPCs with these missions. There's no reason to explore the islands. You know, you're just basically just digging up the same treasure all the time. It just feels like both games, it's like the old thing that you're basically as wide as an ocean but as deep as a puddle. Yeah, and it just rings true really. But I think a major difference between the two games is that Sea of Thieves didn't missell the game. They were quite open what the game was going to be about at launch. You could watch all these developer videos and showing them what you were going to be doing, like collecting treasure, killing skeletons, exploring sea wrecks, and so they were really open on what you were doing in the game. They weren't mis-selling the game. Whereas like No Man's Sky, in their marketing push, you didn't really know what was going on in the game. They were quite mysterious about it, and so people would end up inferring their own arguments, and Sean Murray didn't dissuade these rumours from circulating. So it just got wildly snowballed, and overhyped game where people didn't even really know what was in the game. Whereas like in Sea of Thieves, you knew what you were getting into, really. They weren't mis-selling the game. Whereas like No Man's Sky, they said like multiplayer was going to be in the game. They showed like videos like ship upgrades and things that weren't in the game, and like Steam had to take down some of the videos that were in the marketing that showed these things that weren't even in the true game at launch. So Sea of Thieves, I think, is a missed opportunity. It has missed potential. It has a lot of potential because the core game is fun. Controlling your ship and sailing with friends and doing PvP is fun. But it's just a shame that the game is lacking. It's a shell of a game, really. It should have, I feel, been left for a year. If it had been left for a year and could have been given all these things like more ship upgrades and more fun things to do with your friends, it could have been a true good pirate sim that was worth your money. Whereas I feel at the moment it's more like an early access game, really, and it could have just been on the Xbox Game Pass, and then people would have thought it was a really good deal. I'm just worried that when the game within a year probably will be quite good and be fleshed out, probably there won't be anyone there to see it. Like No Man's Sky, I mean, they've improved the game since a launch a year ago. They've created it with ship upgrades, base building, better combat, things like that, and to their credit they have made it a game like what they advertised a year ago. But no one's really there playing it anymore, and no one really cares that much anymore. So it's just a shame. So this could be like the problem for Sea of Thieves as well. It's got all this potential and the core gameplay is fun, but it needs work, it needs improvement, it needs fleshing out, it needs to have the core of the game needs to be there. And I worry that people in a year, no one's going to be around to play that. No one's going to be able to see that, and no one's ultimately going to be really that bothered about the game. So that's a bit of a shame, really, because it's lost potential. But that's my opinion. You can dislike it or like it. But thanks very much for listening. I'm going to be creating more videos. I'm going to be getting a new mic soon, so the quality will improve. But please stick around to see the next few videos I'll be making. Thanks very much, and goodbye.